Okay, so I think that everybody would agree that the goal is to build a company that works for you and provides a livelihood whether you are working in the company or not. The dream is to create financial freedom by building an asset that you don't have to work in, but you can work on, and it continues to work with or without you. And so I love helping people accomplish this. I remember when I did my first summer of selling and I got, it sounds dumb, but like more money than I knew what to do with, which is like $30,000. I just never had $30,000 sitting in my bank account. And I was like, what should I do with this? And it kind of changed my whole perspective on life because I was like, wow, if I did that, then I can do that. And if I can do that, that completely changes my future. I was like, that was my first summer selling, and I made $60,000 in 4 months. Right now, I'm planning to be in school for the next 10 years to become a doctor to make $200,000 a year. And then I started learning about just money and finance. I increased my financial IQ, and so I read books like, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and The Millionaire Next Door, and things like that, Think and Grow Rich. And I learned that, there's different places you can put your money and different things you can spend your money on. And the number one thing that you want to spend your money on, where should I put it, is you want to put your money into an asset that makes you more money. And so that would be like, real estate or storage units or a business. But the thing is, if you create a business and you have to work in the business for it to run, if the business can't survive without you working there, then you've created yourself a job. And if you're gonna just work and have a job, then you might as well just work for a company and not have to worry about all the stress of owning the company. And so that's exactly what I did. Honestly, it took me about 10 years to get there. I sold for 4 years, and I built a pest control company for 6 years. And now the pest control company is to the point where I don't work in it at all. I meet with my managers once a week and talk to my accountants once a month, and it just does it, and which allows me freedom to, I don't come into work until 11 o'clock because I just spend time with my kids in the morning, and then I get off work at about 5 o'clock after recruiting and everything, and I go home and I spend time with my kids because that's what I always wanted. I always wanted to be able to have the freedom of time to spend with my kids. And now what I'm working on is building this sales company, and I'm recruiting people to help go down that same path. But the main moral of the story is, when building a company, when creating a plan, you want to make sure that you're working on something that's going to give you a compound return and stack up over time. So, for example, like if you create a business, a company, but like a good example is, so at our pest control company, we have one-time jobs like rodent exclusion work, and then we have recurring jobs like quarterly pest control. And so the quarterly pest control revenue is way more valuable than the one-time exclusion jobs. We get like $3,000 for a rodent job. It's a one-time thing, and you're like, wow, that's awesome. But the thing is, that doesn't compound and build upon itself. Like if I do $1 million in rodent work a year, if the next year I want to have a 20% increase, I have to do, again, sell $1,200,000 worth of it. But if I want to increase my pest control revenue that's reoccurring, I'm going to have about maybe a 5% attrition. And then if I want to have a 20% growth, I only need to sell 25% of $1 million, or like 250,000, to stack and to continue to make money in the future. So you want to make sure that the company that you build and invest in is going to have residual, reoccurring revenue. Otherwise, you're just constantly going to be hunting after that next sale. That's like things like solar. Like, that's why I like to sell and build pest control, because I could do solar. It seems amazing, but it's a one-time cash grab. What do I do with my money once I have it? That was always the thing. I was, okay, where do I put my money, and where can I put my money to make it work for me and help me have freedom so I can do other things that I want to do, go serve missions and things like that. So that would just be my one advice on business is whatever business you do, make sure that it's compounding, reoccurring revenue, repeat businesses, repeat customers, that you are able to have other people run for you and you not have to work in the company for it to survive. And you know, that might take 10 years. It took me 6 years to get it there. But someone was like, well, was it worth it working 6 days a week from 9 to 9 or 6 to 9 every day? And I was like, well, you know, I'll tell you in 50 years once I've been like good. Like, yeah, it's definitely worth it. But most people aren't willing to do that grind and fail and fail and learn and learn and learn. There's no such thing as failing. There's just finding out. So that's my 2 cents on business advice. Just speaking from experience. If you want to know more about business, it's what I love. It's one of my passions. If you want to know about financial freedom, it's a big hobby of mine. A lot of good books on it. You got to be an avid reader or a audibler. All I do is just listen to Audible. Cool. Well, best of luck.